Good evening, everybody. Mike Vacchi, Princetontrader.com, here with a Thursday evening special webcast. It's a special webcast tonight, but we're going old school. We're going to be getting back to some of the stuff that we used to do years ago before we had the live chart and the audio. I would do an evening webcast every night to get information out to the traders that I couldn't really express, in typewritten form during the course of the day. We drifted away from that a little bit because we've got the audio in the room all day long. We've got the screen share, and there wasn't any really, it got to be very redundant for the members. But I want to get back to that for a lot of you out there. I think there is a bridge between people that want to be in the room all day long and trade this stuff like crazy, and people that are just casually trade futures that want some setups, that want to do some different things. So we're going to be doing some different things with content. We're going to be doing some stuff in the evening. We're going to be doing some stuff with newsletters and setups, and we're going to try some stuff, and some of it's going to work, and some of it probably won't. Hopefully it'll encourage some of you to come in and check out the room, because it's been a volatile summer. It is going to be a volatile fall, and the more of you I can put in a position to do well, the happier I am. I do this because trading this stuff is treacherous, and I want to keep as many of you out of trouble on any particular day as I possibly can. All right, enough of me. Let's talk about the charts. All right, daily chart. I've left all the annotations off because I want to focus on what we were talking about last night, this morning, which is the inability of the bulls to close the deal on the daily midband. They made attempts 3 sessions in a row. They had it converted yesterday and the day before. What we saw, though, 74, 68, we saw an inability of the bulls to follow through. So you started to see the first chinks in the armor. You started to see some dip buyer fatigue. That dip buyer fatigue came home to roost as we got later into today, and we'll get to that in a minute. I've got some pictures of various today's 5-minute chart in various states of bullish disrepair. So where are we now? The gray line is your third standard deviation lower band. What do you know? It's support. The second standard deviation lower band is coming in at 31 and change. Typically, that would act as resistance during the course of the overnight. Right now, we are long. We got long just before 5 o'clock. I'm long 25. I've taken some profits. I've got my risk out. Maybe I get stopped out on this little pushback here. We're trading about 27 as I speak. But what we very typically see is support at the third standard deviation lower band, a move back up to the second standard deviation lower band that tends to be resistance. You saw a little bit of that back on August the 11th. Saw resistance there. Now the following day they went ahead and took it up, but that's for Monday. Okay, so tomorrow, if today's trade is indicative of some bearish follow through, some chinks in the armor, some uncertainty on the part of the dip buyers, then we spend the day in what I call the channel between the two lower bands. It's a very typical setup for this, what is proven to be what I call a secondary band ride. You had a band ride here, you had a little bit of relief, and then a big move down. Secondary band rides tend to be violent, whether they're upper band rides or lower band rides. Some of the biggest moves in 2013 and 2014 were from secondary band rides. They are flaming short squeezes. They are painful. They are all of that. So what is important to note is whether the secondary band ride is going to take form and kind of hold the dip buyers hostage for a couple of days. The bands are starting to expand. Your Bollinger Bandwidth is now up at 2.61. Not massive, but not small. All right, let's take a look at a few snippets of today's trade. One of the first things that was interesting about today was this morning. This is a 5-minute chart. Came in this morning, and one of the first things I said again at about 7 o'clock, every single move to the daily midband as a short until it's converted. I mean, we've been saying that in the room for a couple of days. It served us very well. In the overnight, 68 was your Globex high, right there in the area of the daily midband, and down we go. So we came in this morning, and I wanted to get aggressively short. VWAP and the proprietary moving average is one of the things that we watch. We tend to watch it as a momentum ender. So they were kind of bringing this down. I figured they would use it, give us a bounce to get a better entry. We popped up to 65, right against our risk marker, and it was able to push down. And we crossed. We got the pop. Needed to be rejected, and that was a riskier trade. But the reason I bring up such a minor trade, it was not a big deal, but what it showed was VWAP, moving averages, these things were playing out in favor of the bears. And as the day going on, that became exacerbated. So that brings us into this morning. So about 10 o'clock or so, you get a little bit of a down push. You get a move up to 64, and this news hits. Gary Cohen maybe stepping down. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Market doesn't wait to see what's true and what's not true. We sell off, okay? Bad news is bad news. It's the other thing that you have to note. We've seen more and more of that lately. They're not spinning it the way they were. Bad news is bad news. You get the push down. We were actually long here. I had to dive out of a long. We took our only red trade of the day for about 4 handles. In the 27 handle day that we had, in the big scheme of things, a 4.5 isn't that big of a deal. But the point is, you dive out of that trade and you get in tune with where price wants to go. They couldn't generate the relief rally. The news was not on their side. They push down. They do a lower high right here. All pops are sells at that point until these areas convert. We end up shorting 59.5. They get through 55.75. That opened up 52 for us. 52 was open. Turns into a nice trade. The second part of the day where the bears behaved very well. All of this is opening up a move to the lower band. Okay, so as we head into midday now, you're starting to see problems. So here's that move down to 50 off the news. They tried to kind of do matching lows over the course of the day. They ran it right back up to VWAP, which, looked like, VWAP had worked all day as resistance. So one of the things we do in the room is when things are working, we assume they're going to keep working until they don't. That gets us aggressively short versus 58. You get the 58 print, short 57.75, and we end up being able to ride that one down, for a couple of hours, to the lows. We got out, right around, 115, 120, right about the time that I'm getting back from the gym. At that point, you're looking at the blue line here, which is the 5-minute midband. We are trend down now, okay? We've taken out the weekly pivot, the monthly pivot. We've made a bias below my proprietary level at 55.25, okay? At that point, we're trend down. And one of the basic rules we have for trend down is no long setups on ES until the 5-minute midband is converted, okay? So you're seeing now the dominoes are starting to fall. The bears are doing the things that they typically do when they're going to have a day, okay? So the question is now, are they going to be able to put an entire day together? So here's the rest of the day through the close, 5-minute chart. Remember our rule. No long setups in ES until the 5-minute midband is converted. This blue line is your 5-minute midband. We pop up, we touch. There's our short area. We get a couple. We like to take 2 on a third and get our risk out. That keeps us on the right side of the trade, and it doesn't let green trades turn red. So that's one of the techniques that we teach in the room. And, down goes Frazier, so to speak. You get looks at the 5-minute midband all the way down. Here, 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 and it just cascades down. There's your waterfall that perma bears look for every day of their lives. I actually got it today. And we're not doing this just because it was a big down day. We're doing this because I think this is going to be instructive for everybody, whether you're a subscriber or whether you're just out there going forward, to really teach you guys how to trade this stuff and to see if trading this stuff is really right for you. So down we go. and we end up closing, right around the lows. We end up getting long. We put out a long recommendation here because typically after 5 o'clock, as you get into the, after you get into the new Globex, there's a reflexive bounce. It's been a little bit of a reflexive bounce. We've done about 29 and change, but that's it. So, we're walking subscribers through trades and ended up being a really nice day. But what you saw today for the first time in a long time is you saw price respond to the bears in an area where price should be responding. That's the key takeaway. That's why I'm showing you this stuff. That's why I'm showing you these trades, because these trades worked because of the buyer fatigue, the dip buyer fatigue that we saw at 74, that we saw at 68, and that we saw going forward all day long, till the point where it gets to be about 3 in the afternoon, and they take their ball and go home. They say, we'll find more value down here. We'll see you in about 15 handles. 38, 23. I mean, that's how you get there. That's how you get that kind of day. So going forward, here's your hourly chart, the one I show every morning. Bears must break this low this week. We talked about that Sunday into Monday. It's been done now. You got your lower low. Now it's all about, can the second standard deviation lower band hold things in? Is tomorrow's daily pivot up at 39.83 going to be respected? And under no circumstances whatsoever can the bears be giving up the weekly pivot tomorrow. It's well within their power to do it. They do dumb stuff like that all the time. All right. Everybody have a fantastic night. I will be out in the morning with the usual morning webcast. This was something a little different. I hope you got something out of it. I would love to hear any feedback that you have. Check us out. We would love to meet you. Take care. Trade them well. See you in the morning.